Welcome to Natural Health Shop. I'm Eddie Hochschlag, your co-host, and tonight we're going to be going over males' cancers. Dr. Mark is going to talk about cancer prevention. Dr. Chip is going to talk about the nervous system. I'm going to close it with chronic stress and how that relates to cancers. Up first, Dr. Mark.
Hello everyone, how are we doing this evening? Good to have you along with us tonight. We're going to talk about some cancer prevention. We see a lot of things in the news and stuff about the yellow, the pink ribbon, all this kind of stuff, and the survivors. And my thinking is it's just too bad that they even had to get in that position in the first place. So what is cancer? Well, cancer basically is a problem with the immune system. The body is producing cancer cells. As the cells multiply, there are mistakes genetically, and the cancer cell is one of those mistakes. And normally the immune system is able to take care of that. So if the body is healthy, if the immune system is healthy, well, then the body can prevent cancers from spreading, from getting involved in the tissue and going from there. And it's very appropriate to talk about cancer right now, as this COVID business is the same problem. It's a different genetic issue, as a virus is an outside problem, or cancer is an inside problem, but it's the same immune system that doesn't work right. So you want to work on, again, getting the immune system to be correct, getting the body healthy. A lot of people maybe have survived cancer for the first 5 years. They are a cancer survivor, but then you have cancer later. Again, they're not ever dealing with the cause. So the people, many people that we've gotten a hold of that have problems, and I just had a sister-in-law. We just lost one sister-in-law because she was a cancer survivor twice, but the third time got her. And it's a deal where if you're not handling the problems, you're going to have it again. So let's go over some of the things that deal with why we get cancers, or preventing cancer. So a couple big things: optimize your vitamin D. Just another article I saw today. We know that it's not just taking synthetic D3. Even with the COVID business, people are talking about, you got to take a lot of vitamin D. Well, they're finding that if you don't take other things with it, magnesium, other things, and again, vitamin D3 is an oil-soluble vitamin, it can become poisonous to the body, taken in too higher quantities for too long. So again, what's the best way of getting vitamin D? It's in your food sources. All your oils, your fats and oils, help your body to get vitamin D. And guess what? Vitamin D comes from cholesterol. So if you're getting cholesterol, you have cholesterol in the body, the liver's making cholesterol, the sun activates that portion of the cholesterol that makes up the vitamin D, the active form of vitamin D. That's where you get the good immunity from. It's from food sources and how your body works with vitamin D and the sunlight, optimizing it. Avoid eating excess proteins. And the reason for that is it's not the proteins particularly, it's that proteins are a very dense nutritional food, and most people have a problem digesting it correctly. It becomes a problem in the gut, and then the body has problems with that. And you have, many people blame the protein, blame meat for the cancer. Again, it's not the meat. Everybody else can eat meat and they don't have cancer, or other people can. It's not the meat, it's the person's digestive system or the immune system. Now, your gut is a big part of the immune system. So if your gut's not working right, the probiotics are wrong, you have polyps, all these things, intestinal irritation, leaky gut, your pancreas is burnt out, you're not producing enzymes, your stomach doesn't work right, you're not producing stomach acid, then you're going to have problems digesting heavy foods. And guess what foods you need to replace yourself and prevent osteoporosis and prevent Alzheimer's and things that need fat? Well, you need a good digestive system, and a good part of that, again, is the immune system, part of the gut. Eating living foods with amazing health benefits. When we talk about living foods, we're talking about raw foods, your plants, things, especially salads. The green leafy vegetables are very good to help, again, clean the bowel. They help detoxify the body, help give the liver to detoxify, working with the body in many ways. And again, many good vitamins and minerals in the green leafy vegetables, especially vitamin C, iron, magnesium, a lot of these other minerals that go along with your fats and proteins that help you to get vitamin D. So it's all tied together, of course. And simplify your cleaning supplies. And this goes into looking at what chemical toxins or your toxin overload or load that your body has to deal with all the time. So we look at, the medics love to blame your genetics for cancer. Your dad had the liver cancer, you're going to have liver cancer, blah, blah, blah. Well, your blueprints are just or your genes are just a blueprint that has to be read, and it's not, they don't control anything. The genes are just the blueprint. It's the epigenetics, or science of epigenetics, which is basically diet and lifestyle, that determines what genes turn on and off. And so, if you're eating well, getting the good nutrition your body needs, you'll produce good proteins and enzymes from the genetics. But if you're not eating good things and your body is toxic and overloaded, for whatever reason, whether it's cleaning supplies, the air pollution and everything, then you're going to have problems. Now, what we always talk about with patients in the office here is try to do things about things you could do something about, so you can handle the things you can't. So you've got to breathe the air. Whatever quality of air you've got, you can't do a whole lot about it unless you're inside and you can use purifiers and things like that, and cleaners. But if you're outside, you've got the air to breathe. But if you can get rid of some of these toxins, then cleaning supplies are one of the ones that you can do something about. You can only buy things that aren't so toxic. A good example of that is Dawn dishwashing liquid. It's got formaldehyde in it. There's other ones that are real easy to find that have problems. And of course, they work well as far as the cleaning part, but they give you problems in the meantime. So you want to avoid that kind of stuff. Next slide. Great. Use greener beauty products. So again, it's for men. We're not worried about makeup and things, but still use the stuff in your hair, your deodorants, antiperspirants, colognes, those kind of things. Use things that don't have all the chemicals in there, that keep the chemical load down to a minimum. Ditch your non-stick cookware. The Teflon coating in cookware is things to be aware of, whether you're doing the cooking or not. You don't want to have that stuff on your food. Also, another big one is plastics. Plastics are fine as long as you keep them cold and out of the sunlight, but you never want to make things, warm things up in a microwave in plastic, because that gets the BPH and all these other chemicals that come from that. Drink clean, pure water. The municipalities in this country, they do the best they can to get water to you that is not filled with bacteria and amoebas and plankton and all kind of other stuff. Your yeast and molds and all these things that grow in water. So they put chlorine in there to kill that all off, so that you get water that is sterile, which is good. The problem is the chlorine kills your bacteria and your good stuff too if you drink it without getting the chlorine back out of it. Fluorine is a whole different problem. Just a toxic chemical. It really has no place in water, but that's a whole other topic we can go to some other time. But anyway, we want to try to find it. We find that spring water is some of the best to get a hold of for drinking purposes. A lot of the water that comes from your tap, if it's got chlorine things in it, you can filter that out. Use that for your laundry and cleaning and toilet and things like that. But for showers, but again, too, just like that, the showering with chlorine water will get you more chlorine because you breathe it more than drinking the water. So even though you're drinking, spring water from a bottle, if you're taking showers in chlorinated water, you're breathing in this chlorine, which is really hard to get on the body, especially the liver. The liver is a big part of the immune system, so really important to get that under control. It's something you do something about. There's a lot of filter systems that are easy to get a hold of. We have that information here at Natural Health to help anybody that wants information about that. And choose organic and locally grown foods. Again, when you buy foods in the store, you don't know where it comes from. Where does it come from? How is it raised? It may look great, but you're just relying on the store that they've bought good quality foods. Well, they're just buying to try to make a buck, so they don't really care how you feel as long as you buy their stuff. So you want to try to buy organically raised or locally grown stuff so that you have, again, more control over what you're getting, what your body's getting into it, And most of the time, organic, locally grown will be raised on soils that have better care. Where commercially raised produce is usually chemically fertilized, pesticides, all the junk that goes along with that. So that's kind of the things you can do to prevent, you can do to prevent cancers and things. Skip the canned foods. You want to stay away from the processed foods and things that have preservatives in them. So what's the canned foods? They last forever. Well, why is that? Well, for one thing, they're dead. The foods have been heated to the point that they're dead. There's nothing in there that will make the food go bad, but there's also nothing in there that will help you nutritionally. So not good. The cans that themselves, the metal itself, is not good to have in there. And then many cans are lined now with plastic, and that plastic's not good to have in there either. That gets into the food. So canned foods are just good to stay away from. They'll keep you alive in an emergency, but if you can find other good foods to help the body be healthy, much better. And ditch the microwave. Microwave cooking, yeah, it's very convenient, it's very quick, but it also destroys the food value in foods. So, and again, you never want to microwave in plastic, probably one of the worst things you can do, but just good enough to get rid of it. You can heat things up on the stove. It takes a little bit longer, but it's a lot better for you. And then even in a toaster oven and things like that, you can heat things up if you need to that way. So that is a pretty good indicator of, that's okay, Dr. Chip's up next. So that's a pretty good list of the things you can do to prevent cancer. And again, I want to make the point that in this COVID business thing we're dealing with yet, and again, people that are wearing the masks and the social distancing and all this stuff, there's a lot of information out there that is not necessary, but we're still following, trying to be nice and following that. But let's look at your immune system and getting that strengthened up, and now is the time to do that. In this time of the year where we can get a hold of we have good weather to be out in, we have good sunlight to get into, don't wait to think about your immune system and the second wave, whatever that's going to be, until you get into the flu season, until late fall or early winter. That's too late. You want to go ahead and get your immune system working well now. That's what we do at Natural Health, especially with the nutrition response testing work that we do. But even with the adjusting, helps the nervous system to work correctly. Dr. Chip's going to talk about that. And then Master Eddie's going to talk about the emotions, the energy of the body, and how you've got to get that working right now when it's a good time before it gets into the point where you've got the problem. All these viruses can be, and there's much information actually, if you want to get into this, there's a lot of data out there that suggests that a lot of cancers are from viruses. So again, it's all part of the same deal. If you can get your body working correctly, get your immune system working correctly, get the mechanism of your body producing lots of energy, the mitochondria and everything, where you're a vibrant, energetic person rather than just sitting around all the time waiting to catch some disease. So now's the time to really work on the immune system. And at Natural Health, we have all kind of ways of again doing that. And we even have a special on now where we're doing free consultations. You can come in and just see what we do here. Many people have been to alternative practitioners, but many haven't. So they really have no idea. All they know is to go through their MD and if their insurance pays for it. Well, we can see what happens in our society now with with even this COVID business of people that are just sitting around waiting to use their insurance money. That's, again, that doesn't get you anywhere. You're not healthy. Being on a lot of medication, half the population is overweight, a third of the population is diabetic or pre-diabetic. So again, that's a very poor report card on the status of the healthcare system in this country. And we want to change that. We want to try to get people to look at a truly healthy healthcare paradigm where you're actually promoting health and things, rather than just waiting to get a disease and then treating it forever. And that's a very poor way of living life. So anyway, that's enough on that soapbox for me. I'll turn it over to Dr. Chip, and he'll give you some information on the nervous system. Dr. Chip.
Hello, everybody. So again, we're going to talk about male cancers and the nervous system. Now, how Dr. Mark kind of explained there is that with all that cancer, or anything going on, it's always a dis-ease, or it's always coming from different stress. So any problems or anything besides the rare genetic disorders are coming from an accumulation of stress. And it's important to make sure that we are doing the right things to eliminate the stress as much as possible. So what are the three kinds of stress? Again, there is a physical trauma stress, which means that you're not taking care of yourself, such as you're not sleeping enough, you're not resting enough, you're not walking enough, you're not moving enough. It could be too much of something or too little of something. So again, our bodies are made to move. We want to move at least as a good amount of time during the day, but again, not to overdo anything. Nutritionally, like Dr. Mark explained, there's plenty of nutritional and chemical things out there that are important. It's good to eat the right foods out there, getting good proteins, the fruits and veggies and all that, drinking clean water, and not being exposed to so many chemicals. But another important one is the emotional and thoughts. Now, a lot of these different stresses play havoc or are detrimental, or can be detrimental, on the nervous system. So when we have too much stress on the nervous system, our bodies become unbalanced. And so the nervous system, again, the system that coordinates and controls everything, can be unbalanced. And when we're unbalanced, we do not have enough energy to supply our bodies, which doesn't give us the capability of protecting ourselves. And so the sympathetic nervous system is more of our fight or flight. Again, I've talked about this multiple times, but it's always good to come back to it. Now, the sympathetic system is more of our fight or flight. It's kind of an overdrive system, and we need it to survive for certain situations. But that was more for survival aspects back then in the past, and right now we live in a time of relative peace. Now, again, there are plenty of things going on now that can definitely turn up people's sympathetic overdrive systems, but we need to be able to self-regulate our own systems, especially when we have those negative thoughts or emotions that are coming in and putting a lot of stress on the nervous system. The flip side of that is the parasympathetic system, the rest and digest. So we don't want to be too far in that area, because then we wouldn't be able to get out of bed. We wouldn't be able to be doing things that we need to do for the day in order to progress as a person. So I'm going to talk a little bit about dis-ease and how we've been conditioned to think that it's a disease that attacks our bodies. We think that we've been conditioned to think that things outside of us are causing harm on us, and that's always the case. Well, actually, our bodies are much more powerful than we think. Again, just think about a cut on your hand. Your body is able to heal that cut very efficiently. Now, there's a certain, you could say, intelligence or energy in your body that's capable of doing all this healing. Nothing outside the body does that healing. It only helps the healing. Now, the body is always self-regulating and self-healing. And so when we get to a part of dis-ease, there's something in that is not allowing us ample energy to heal. So a part of the nervous system and a part of brain signaling can be very helpful in that ability to self-heal and self-regulate. So again, chronic stress leads to an unbalanced body. And then, so improper brain functioning can lead to a dis-eased person. Improper brain to body signaling, so brain to body, can lead to a dis-ease. So if, again, we're getting stressed out too much with our brains, then our body is not getting enough energy. And if we're working our body out too much, our brain doesn't get enough energy. So it's very important to keep those signals working properly in order for us to have health and well-being. So, body system dysfunction equals dis-ease. And so it could be any body system. It could be the hormonal system. It could be the endocrine system. Same kind of deal there. But the nervous system, and if there's a dysfunction in the nervous system, again, if the brain and body are not working properly or they're not communicating properly, then the immune system is at dysfunction. And so when we have a dysfunctioning immune system, we're able to, or the cancer cells can grow in our bodies. So there's cancer cells always growing in our bodies, but it's our immune system that helps regulate that process. It helps either clean them out or it keeps the body at a balance. Again, if there was no cancer, if there was no bacteria, if there was no virus, if there was no anything like that, there would be an unbalance of things. Again, this universe, this world was created very well in a balance. We just have to be able to keep that at a very good balance in order to help ourselves go through life efficiently. So, okay, then for the male cancers, again, there's important things to do, like Dr. Mark explained, the food, good water, that's good for chemically, nutritionally. And we need to be doing that in order to have a good amount of energy there. Physical trauma, again, like I said, there's too much or too little. So our bodies are meant to move. We need to move throughout the day. Walking at least 30 minutes a day is very important. And then emotion and thoughts. Again, everything is energy. We need to understand that, and that our physical bodies are made up of a lot of energy. Even a single atom, 99% of that is energy. So you could say a lot of our body is energy. And emotions and thoughts are just energy, are just forms of energy. So we need to make sure that we're not giving too much energy to things outside of us that we can't help or can't do anything about. Even giving too much energy to negative things such as worry, doubt, fear, anything like that, you're giving your energy away and not bringing that energy back to you in order for you to be able to self-heal and self-regulate. So it's kind of like this weird, sick joke or anything, but we've been conditioned to think that we are victims of our lives and victims of our environment. But the opposite is true. We are powerful beyond imagining. We can be able to self-heal and self-regulate, and that's why that's very important. So I think, So I think that's it for me. It's ready for Eddie to talk, and he'll show you or explain to you the importance of emotions and how it relates to chronic stress and the male cancers.
All right, I'm going to talk a little bit about chronic stress, and it relates perfectly with what Dr. Shipp and Dr. Mark were saying, because we will touch it with the immune systems, but when we come to talk about chronic stress, and I like to talk about the emotion, but the first thing we got to look at is that subconscious mind. Now I want to pre-equate to a little bit of talking about the subconscious mind and put it into kind of an image or kind of an example to how we can relate it throughout the presentation I'm going to show you. So when I was 4, let's just say at that time I was 4, I'm doing good, I'm a kid, I'm just roaming around everywhere. Let's just say I have this battery pack and it's at 100%. This 100% battery pack. And then after the age of 7, because remember, if you've seen a lot of our other videos, the subconscious mind is programmed between the ages 0 and 7. So after the age of 7, it was my 7th birthday, I'm up and rolling. Now after that, if I had those things when I was at the age of 4, let's say for instance, like, I felt unworthy, or kind of a lack of love in a sense. Maybe I got beat up by my brothers or something, or they picking on me. Well, after that time, we can find out that by the age of 7, it'll slowly maybe go to like 99% battery, 98% battery. And that'll slowly get farther and farther, because we look at the definition of chronic stress. Well, chronic stress is essentially stating an emotional pressure experienced over a period of time. So I'm 10 years old and I'm still at kind of like 97. I'm like, it's kicking in, but I got some things possibly coming on due to that emotional attachment that I had when I was a kid. So the more energy I give this thing when I was 4 years old, thinking I might be unworthy, it's going to slowly bring that 97, 96, 95, and it's going to progressively get farther and farther over the period of time creates more and more chronic stress. So we can find out that it causes the increased release of a lot of stress hormones in our bodies. So over that period of time when I was like 12, 13, 14, I start getting like this personal reality that I have to release a bunch of these chemicals that my mind thinks that it has to produce, but really it's only an image that I have in my mind that states that I have to release these hormones, these stress hormones, that is going to cause chronic stress or dis-ease to the physical body. So which would lead to mental and physical problems. So I could have, throughout that time, 14, 15, I'll have a bunch of anxiety or depression, or I might have adrenal issues as well. We can find out that a lot of those, and science is backing this up, that these mental, these emotional issues at that time will progressively go further and further the more we're attached to them. So chronic stress, yet again, we're going to talk about this, but it weakens the immune system. It makes it more susceptible to disease and infection. So we got to remember, if we get